What is up, everybody? Welcome back once again to Hot Toys Hotline. As always, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel and drop a like on this video. I would very much appreciate it. I want to say, guys, thank you so much for the amazing support on my last 3 reviews. If you have not checked them out yet, definitely head on over to the channel and check out my last 3 reviews. But as you can see, guys, in front of me today, I do have the WB100 Wonder Woman by Hot Toys. Now, guys, this is the first wool rooted hair by Hot Toys. As you guys know, I've been openly skeptical about rooted hair. I wasn't a huge fan of the rooted hair on the old Hot Toys figures that I have, so I'm really hoping this one changes my opinion. I'm really excited to check it out. I have not looked at it at all yet, so this is definitely really exciting for me. Really quickly though, guys, I do want to give a massive shout out to Jeremy Casa over at Plastic Hero Collectibles. Jeremy was nice enough to source this for me. I really had to have this one when I first saw it. I'm glad that I did, though. I did miss through Sideshow, so this is definitely very much appreciated, Jeremy. Thank you so much, not only for the fair price, but also for getting her to me so quickly. I very much appreciate it. But enough about that. Let's get right into it. Of course, as always, guys, we're going to take a look at the box first. Now, looks may be deceiving, guys. I know a lot of people had questions about the sizing on the box. I will compare this to a regular size Hot Toys box very shortly. But first, of course, let's take a quick tour around the packaging here. As you can see here, though, guys, we have a beautiful image here of Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman on the front. Moving down, you can see we have that WB100 logo and that beautiful like gold foil that it has on there. Really nicely done on the packaging. I think this looks absolutely beautiful. Moving down, you do have that Wonder Woman logo there, as well as all the different branding and such, all in that gold metallic foil. This whole box, if you can't tell in the lighting, it is all completely metallic foil and it looks absolutely incredible. Moving around to the side here though, as you can see, we have Wonder Woman on the side with that Wonder Woman logo carrying on to the side as well. Again, I really do love this metallic foil they used on this box. I think it looks absolutely incredible. On the bottom, you have that same metallic foil on the surface, as you could see. And then moving around to the other side, it's basically a carbon copy of the other side with Wonder Woman branded there on the side. Now moving around to the back, guys, if you would like to pause it and read about all those who were involved in this project, you can certainly do so. But now, guys, let me flip it back around to the front and let me grab the other Hot Toys box that I have set aside, and we'll do a quick comparison in terms of the size difference because I really want to show you guys how large this box really is. So just to put it in perspective, guys, I do have the BVS Armored Batman box here, and as you can see, this box is pretty substantial. I know a lot of the resellers that were reselling these figures definitely regretted putting shipping in the price originally because this box is way bigger than a lot of people thought. Really quickly though, I will even lay this box on top of the Wonder Woman box, and as you can see, it absolutely dwarfs it. Really quickly though, guys, I will throw the dimensions of the packaging right here on the screen for those that are curious. Now that we have that Batman box out of the way, let's remove the foam inserts out of the packaging and we'll see how she arrives when she lands on your doorstep. Okay, so here are our foam inserts, guys, removed from the packaging. As you can see, this is how it is laid out in the box when you first open it up. And also in the very bottom of the packaging, you do have your plastic backer here that goes behind the display base. This is definitely really nice looking. I can't wait to take a look at this. I will say I do like that Hot Toys put it on this cardboard backer. It kind of keeps it from bending as much. But with that being said, guys, as always, now let's take the figure and all of the accessories out of the box and we'll take a closer look at all of the details. Really quickly, guys, I wanted to show you all the accessories removed from the packaging laid out in front of us. Of course, now we're going to go through each accessory individually and see what we think. Starting with the hands, guys, as you can see, we do have an open, relaxed type of hand here. If we get really close up on the hand, you can see some nice skin texture there. I think they did a great job. And also this kind of simulated leather wrapping on the hand looks really convincing as well. Some weathering on it to make it look like real leather wrapping. And then this other hand here looks to me like it's for the lasso of truth. Again, really nicely sculpted and really nicely painted. I think it looks pretty excellent. And moving on to the final 3 hands that are included as extras with the figure. Obviously, these will be used for the sword, the lasso of truth, or for those straps that are on the back of the shield. Of course, there are also 2 hands pre-installed on the figure that we will see later in the video. You guys know what I'm going to say. I'm definitely a little disappointed, especially for the price of this figure. I expected more. As always, guys, I want more hands. Next, as you can see, we do have a swap out pair of bracers here. If we get up close on one of these, you'll see some really nice painted and sculpted detail there. I think overall these are pretty nicely done. I don't know if I will ever use these personally, but it's nice that it includes an extra set to kind of convey a different look in my opinion. Next guys, we do have the harness that goes across her chest. Of course, this is how you attach the shield to her back. But I want to point out something guys, this is real leather. Now there is something that comes along with that. Mr. Mom Collectibles did point this out to me. If you can see this fuzzy backing on the back of this leather, apparently if you drag this across the skin too much, it does leave little brown particles all over the body, and it's a total pain in the ass to remove them. So when you're putting this on, try not to rub it across the body too much, or else you'll probably have the same issue with yours. Getting close up though guys, you can see some sculpted plastic elements here towards the top and on both sides as well. As you can see, there's a little loop here for the lasso of truth, and on the other side, as you can see, looking a little bit different, but really nicely done overall. And I'm so glad to see this was done in real leather, because not only is this an expensive figure, this is a special WB 100th anniversary figure, so you kind of expect more with a release like this. Next guys, we do have Wonder Woman's shield, looking really nice, I might add. Some really nice weathering. If we get really close up towards the edges, you can see all the weathering throughout the front of the shield, and it's definitely really nicely painted. I don't see any sloppy paint or anything. Moving around to the back guys, you can see how it's attached to the figure. Of course, you slip her arm through there. Be very careful when you're doing that, because this is one of those rubber bodies. This is not a leather or pleather. This is a sculpted plastic, which is definitely a plus in my opinion. But even on the back side guys, on that like hammered metal portion, it definitely looks really nicely done. So I have no complaints about this accessory whatsoever. And next, going along with the shield theme, we do have Wonder Woman's sword. Now let's get really close up so you can see all those different inscriptions and everything running along the blade. I think this looks pretty excellent. The attention to detail on this piece alone is really impressive. As you can see, it looks like aged metal. It's got aging in the pits of the metal. The hilt of the sword here with these two dragons is very impressive, very nicely detailed and sculpted. And overall, guys, this is just a really cool piece. And I know a lot of people who wanted to pick up this figure were really excited to see that the sword and shield were included with this version. So that's definitely really great to see. Next, guys, we do have the lasso of truth. This is a sculpted plastic piece here, but this is the fabric one that we're used to seeing with all of the other Wonder Womans. It's nothing new. If you like the original one, you will like this one. I don't know how I feel about it. I kind of think it looks a little bit cheap, but that's just my personal opinion. I don't know how they would do it any other way, but maybe in the future, if we ever see another Wonder Woman, maybe they'll change it up. Next, guys, we do have Wonder Woman's armband here. As you can see, really nicely sculpted and painted. I will point out there is no foam or anything on the inside here, so be very careful when you're sliding this onto that silicone rubber body. You definitely don't want to damage the skin on your brand new figure, so be very careful when you're installing this. Next, as you can see, we do have Wonder Woman's tiara. This is not pre-installed on the figure. You do have to install this yourself. I will say this does have a few pieces of foam, as you can see on the inside. Of course, be very careful with this one because you are installing it on the head sculpt, but it definitely looks really good, really nicely sculpted, and really nicely painted. Next, we have this absolutely beautiful display base. If you get really close up, you can kind of see this is raised here. This whole thing has some texture to it. This is definitely really, really classy looking in person. I love the metallic aspect to it. You can see as I move it in the light, it looks really, really good. So definitely very happy with this display base. Moving around to the front, you can see a nice shiny metallic foil on the sticker on the front as well. I think this is very nice looking. I love this new style of like tombstone style nameplate. I think it looks really good, and overall this is very nice and very elegant looking. As you guys saw in the initial accessory portion of the video, this does include a clear pole as well as a plastic grabber that goes with it. Next, guys, we do have our sword display base here. If you guys are familiar with the training armor Wonder Woman, she did come with one of these as well. All you do is take the sword, you kind of slot it in the top there, and it's a really nice way to display that sword, especially if you're not going to be putting it in Wonder Woman's hand. This is definitely really cool, especially because this is a WB100 release. It's nice to see that they included a little bit more with this figure than they typically would with most Wonder Woman figures. And finally, certainly last but not least, we have our WB100 Wonder Woman head sculpt with the wool-rooted hair. But I'm not going to take it out quite yet, guys. As you can see, she's encapsulated here in this plastic box. Definitely a larger plastic box than we saw with the in-art Jokers. However, I do understand why they did it. As you can see, her hair is fully protected in there, which I think is pretty neat. But I'm going to tease you guys a little bit. Let me now install this on the figure, and we'll take a closer look at the figure and see what we think of it. Well guys, here we are now with the WB100 Wonder Woman. Now I know a lot of people are probably asking Hot Toys Hotline, what do you think of this new wool rooted hair? You guys know I've been pretty outspoken about the fact that I don't like rooted hair, and to be honest with you, my main experience with rooted hair was the older Hot Toys figures. I do have the Justice League Wonder Woman Deluxe to compare in this video. I've got the Volume 2 Gamora in my collection, and guys, I really just wasn't satisfied. Now I know that is not the wool rooted hair, and everybody really begged me to give wool rooted hair another chance, so that brings us all to this point, guys. So what do I think of this wool rooted hair? Well, I gotta be honest with you guys, this is absolutely stunning. As you could see, and I'm sure you guys are seeing it from the screen as well, this is such a stunning likeness to Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. I think the hair is such a huge upgrade from the original crappy nylon hair that Hot Toys gave us on all of the previous releases of Wonder Woman. I think she looks fantastic. All I did, guys, was throw the head sculpt on the body and pull a couple pieces of hair to the front over her shoulder, and that's it. Apart from that, I really have not messed with it at all. But let's get a closer up view of the hair job and the head sculpt. As you can see, I do not have the tiara installed because I wanted to get a good look at the hairline and everything without the tiara. But as you can see, guys, she looks absolutely fantastic. I did not take out a miniature curling iron or anything to style this hair. Of course, as always, guys, there are going to be a few loose hairs here and there. But again, this is totally pre-styling anything. I just stuck it on the body and moved some hair towards the front, and this is the result. Again, I think this looks absolutely beautiful. I really am blown away, and I'm kind of seeing a new light with this wool rooted hair. Now, taking a look at that scalp, guys, as you can see, there's a very harsh part there in the hair. There does feel to be some product here on the crown. It definitely feels like it's kind of cemented in place as much as they could get it, and I'm happy with that. The least amount of styling that we have to do, the better. But again, guys, just overall, I think she looks absolutely beautiful. I am so blown away by this. This really is something special. Now, moving on to the rest of the body, guys, as you can see, we have a very beautifully painted armor breastplate there, and the skirt is definitely a light color blue, similar to the Wonder Woman 84. These colors are almost a hybrid of the 84 and the Justice League version, and I really dig how this looks. This is like a thin papery material. Of course, it's not actually paper. If you guys have the Boba Fett Nomad version where he has those tassets running down, it's kind of the similar material to that. If we get up close on it, you can see some really nice detail there though on that skirt. I think it looks really good. And I don't want to gloss over this body either, guys. This is that beautiful Wonder Woman 84 body with that metal inner skeleton, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. If we take a look at the back and the shoulders especially, we get that hair out of the way, I think this is such a great looking body, and overall just a really big upgrade over what they've done in the past prior to the most recent Wonder Woman 84 figure. As you can see, we do have bracers pre-installed on the figure. They are very nicely painted, nicely weathered with some damage on them, and I think they look absolutely awesome. We do have two pre-installed hands on the figure that are just clenched fists, as you could see, and I'm definitely okay with that because that's definitely essential for a character like Wonder Woman. Moving down though, guys, to the boots. As you can see, they are very nicely weathered and painted, just like that breastplate. I will say I am surprised that they didn't update that joint there. It is certainly very visible, but overall from the front you can't really tell, but it does still have those screws on the inner portion, so definitely keep that in mind. If that's something that bothered you before, I'm sure it will still bother you now. Taking a look at the tread, guys, we do have some very plain soles here on the shoes with the Hot Toys licensing and branding on the front there. Really quickly, guys, just going down the back just to give you a brief look. As you can see, once again, that skirt and breastplate combo looks absolutely fantastic. Really love those colors. And as you can see, everything looks really nicely done, nicely sculpted, nicely painted, and overall, this figure is absolutely beautiful. Now guys, just to show you that I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, let me grab the Justice League Wonder Woman Deluxe, and let's compare the two and see really how much of a difference there really is. Alright guys, so a very sought after comparison once again is between this WB100 Wonder Woman on the left and the Justice League Deluxe here on the right. Man, and this really hurts me to do, guys, because as you can see, we're basically just throwing this Justice League Wonder Woman in a coffin and sealing it shut. As you can see, it is an absolute night and day difference. In many ways, I might add. The body, as you can see, is way better on the WB100, way more accurate looking, way more realistic. It almost makes this Justice League version look like a glorified Barbie doll here. Now, getting really close up on the sculpts, as you can see, guys, I mean, the one on the right does not look like Gal Gadot at all, and the one on the left looks like a striking image of Gal Gadot. So overall, guys, as you can see, there is a huge difference between the two. And looking at the hair from the front, I think it makes it very apparent the difference between the wool-rooted hair and this crappy nylon that Hot Toys used to use. As you can see, this is Wonder Woman after many battles. She's seen better days here. The hair is really all over the place. There's no signature Gal Gadot Wonder Woman curls in the hair. It's just overall super messy and all over the place, and it doesn't look good. It looks pretty bad in my opinion. Whereas you look over here and you have some beautifully styled, beautifully curled, and overall way more realistic looking hair. I will say, looking at the wool rooted hair, the one thing I do want to note, I don't think the color is 100% accurate there. I do think the color is a bit different in the actual films. However, it does look really good in my opinion. Flipping these two though around to the back, as you can see, look at the difference in the volume of the hair, look at the difference in the curls throughout the hair. Just overall, one looks realistic and the other one looks like it needs a lot of work in the salon someday soon. Flipping it around to the front though, guys, as you can see, the details aren't too bad in terms of the outfit on the older Justice League Wonder Woman, but even just looking at that torso, you can see the proportions are quite different in the torso area. And I think the Justice League Wonder Woman for the time was an awesome figure, but having these two next to each other, it really makes me rethink this Justice League Wonder Woman. It's not as good as I thought it was, clearly, as I see these two next to each other. But moving down, you can see the color difference in the material. You have a lighter blue skirt here and a darker blue on the Justice League Wonder Woman. Again, you do have that darker red color on the chest on this one as well. If we get a close-up on the bracers here, you could even see a big improvement there, not only in the sculpt, but also in the paint work. Definitely much better, again, on the WB100 Wonder Woman. And also, as you can see, the paint work has more texture to it on the hands as well. I think that's very clear as we look at them next to each other. Moving down though, guys, you could see, I will say the heeled boots on the Justice League actually hold up pretty well as we see them next to each other. Of course, you can see some minor tweaks and improvements on the WB100 Wonder Woman, but overall, I do think the Justice League ones held up pretty well. Looking at them from the side, as I mentioned earlier, it is surprising they didn't improve the visible joints there on the ankle, but overall, again, looking at it from the front, you can't really tell. You can see a noticeable difference in the gold color on the heel there, and as I mentioned earlier, you do have visible screws on the inside of the ball joint on this one, and on this one as well, so that's definitely unfortunate, but it's not a huge deal to me. And then looking at the tread with both of them next to each other, you could see a big difference there in the gold color that they used. Again, overall, guys, I hate to say it, I hate to crap on this one because I own it and I know a lot of you guys do, but I do think this WB100 is a massive, massive upgrade over this Justice League version. Now, if you have the main suit Wonder Woman 84 or the golden armor suit, I'm sure the gap is much smaller, but between these two here, which I think people are going to be wanting to compare most, I think that the WB100 is a massive upgrade, and if you were able to get your hands on it, I think this is a great stand-in for a replacement for this Justice League Wonder Woman. Me personally, I will most likely throw the black fur coat on this one now that I have this WB100 version. But another thing in terms of comparison that I want to do really quickly, I want to compare the sword and shield between these two as well, just so you can see the differences there, because I think there are some minor differences that do show some improvement with the WB100 version. Very quickly, I do want to show you the two shields next to each other, the WB100 being on the left and the Justice League Deluxe being on the right. As you can see, both of them look very nice in their own right. They are completely two different designs, but I wanted to show them next to each other so you guys can get an idea of what they both look like. And then flipping them around to the back, obviously similar ways to attach them, but different in execution, as you can see. But definitely really cool to see these two next to each other. And finally, guys, taking a look at the two swords next to each other, the WB100 being on the left and the Justice League on the right. As you can see, we have some differences in the designs here, pretty significant differences. But I think both of them look very nice in their own right, and it's definitely a nice way to kind of distinguish between the two when you have them in your display. Overall, I think they're both really well done, but I think the WB100 just has better details overall on the blade. But really quickly now, guys, I want to show you a bit of how the WB100 figure articulates. Guys, this is going to be very brief in terms of a posing segment. I'm not going to go too crazy because this is a rubber body, and I want want to preserve mine as much as possible. In terms of the head articulation, there is no limitation here, as you could see. In terms of the arms, you do have double jointed arms, and I will say I do love how that silicone bends when you do bend the arm. Again, I'm not going to go too crazy because this is my personal copy. In terms of the knee articulation, you do have some nice ratcheted joints, and you'll be able to hear that here as I articulate them. And they are definitely really nicely done. This is a very nice body. And in terms of the hands, they do articulate how you would expect. You can rotate them full 360, as well as take advantage of that rocker ball joint if you do pull the gauntlets up just a little bit. And then finally, let's take a look at the ankle rotation. As you can see, despite the design, you can get a little bit of movement there. Up and down, you can get some movement as well. So definitely overall, not bad. Again, guys, I'm not going to push my personal copy because at the end of the day, although this is a new upgraded silicone body, it's still definitely not the best to push the poses too far and let the silicone touch itself. So I'm not going to go too crazy like I typically do with articulation. But guys, now what else is there left to do than to throw the Wonder Woman WB100 in a couple poses, and we'll close out this video and I will share my final thoughts. Alright guys, and just to show you, because the instructions aren't super easy to follow, I have just begun folding the backdrop here. As you can see, you do kind of create a right angle here. There are some predetermined perforated lines here. As you can see, this first section here folds over to the right, and then you fold this side upward this way, and you create a right angle there. Next, as you can see guys, on the gold portion here, you just insert that tab into the back of the display base like so. Next guys, this is what it looks like with the first ribbon installed. You pass it through the back here, slot it into that little cutout, pass it through the front, around the back of this slot, and then it wraps around and slots in here. There is a little bendable tip on the bottom of this here. You bend that tip and then you slot it in the top of the display base here. And as you can see, we slot it through the front here, through the side here, around through the other side, and then down towards the bottom again, where you fold that tip and slot it in the top of the display base. And now we have a fully assembled backdrop. And then really quickly guys, as you could see, the sword just kind of slots in the back of the harness here, and then you attach that clip included in the box to the shield handle, and then you can attach it with the sword to that piece of leather around the back.
Well guys, it's time to answer that burning question. Does this WB100 Wonder Woman with this rooted wool hair change my opinion on rooted hair? Well, I'm happy to say guys, it definitely is changing my opinion in the right direction. Of course, I can't just change my opinion over one figure. However, I do think this is a massive improvement over what I'm personally used to from Hot Toys. I think this is an absolutely fantastic figure. If you're asking, do you think it's worth the money? Yes, I absolutely do. This is a gorgeous figure. Hot Toys did a wonderful job, and that's really all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm out.